Coolio. Cool. Okay, we're on. We're live.
Yay!
We are here today with Mr. Kyle Goodwin, fellow tradesman, and is making the big leap to mental health. That's a big change. That's you don't hear too many of tradespeople doing that nowadays. So
No.
Why don't we start with a real simple question? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Port Coquitlam, just outside of Vancouver. I was born in Vancouver, and then I moved when I was 5, and I was there until I moved to Calgary when I was 20.
Okay, so you spent a lot of time out there.
Yeah, all of my childhood.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of great experiences there. Yeah, it was a great place.
What was it like growing up in such a, because Port Coquitlam it's a separate city, but it's kind of like the outer edges of Vancouver, more or less, because Vancouver's just so big.
I think that's why my parents moved there, because it was cheaper when I was 5 or 6. It was cheaper, less hubbub, especially at the time, there wasn't the population that Poco has now either.
Yeah.
So it was a lot quieter. This would have been 1990-ish kind of area.
Okay.
So yeah, everything was a nice area to live in. It was quieter. Every time we went back into Vancouver, because I had family that still lived there, chaos, the traffic all the time. I'm sure that if we would have stayed in Vancouver, my life wouldn't be the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a crazy city.
Oh, and there's so much to get into. And with ADHD, I would have probably got into the wrong crowd, worse than I already did. And probably, I told my siblings this. I said, if it wasn't for my dad making the point of getting out of Vancouver when we were younger, out of the 3 of us, one would have been dead, one would have prostitute, and one would have been in jail.
Oh, wow.
Just because we didn't have money. We didn't have things and a good mindset to have a healthy lifestyle. My parents were mid-20s when they had children, scrambling. My dad was a truck driver, courier driver for his entire life till he passed. My mom was when she did finally get a job, because we were on welfare for a long time.
Yeah.
When she finally did get a job, it was like working at, she's working at Walmart right now for a lower sum, and she's happy, but
like a retirement kind of job?
No. This is her real job.
Oh, okay.
This is probably the most she's ever made, that she's the happiest doing. Between both my parents, when I got my ticket as a plumber, I made more than both of them combined.
Yeah.
And that tells me that it would have been hard for them to have 3 children and raise that household without having the proper income, without knowing how to do it properly and having the support. So, there's definitely times in my life I'll look back and I wish my parents would have done this, and this, but they did what they could have in what they had.
Yeah.
We were poor.
Yeah.
Throwing hot dogs in a macaroni was gourmet for us.
Yeah. Weenies and beanies and mac and weenies. Yep. Yeah. I've done it too. A little tiny tangent, but it's kind of funny because you hear a lot these days that if you want to get out of the situation that you're in, you need to do more, you need to do something different. And while everybody has kind of the same opportunities to be able to do that nowadays, what do you think the hang-ups were for your parents to be able to not go in that direction, to be able to change their lives differently in comparison? Opportunities are very different now.
Yeah.
But, the situation that they were in, and kind of from outside looking in kind of thing, and seeing other people maybe doing better than them. What do you think a hang-up would have been?
I think a hang-up for my dad would have been that he grew up poorer than we were. So this was a step up for him.
Okay.
It was a place where I would assume he felt safe, where his family was always around to help him out, and he was providing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he had a push to have that job, to do those things. But my dad did work 2-3 jobs at a time to make sure that we're taken care of.
Yeah.
My mom wouldn't, but my dad did.
Yeah.
Right. So I had tons of respect for him and what he did, not so much my mom. My mom, on the other hand, didn't get a steady job until she was in her mid-20s. Was a mother for years, kind of stopped doing that after a while. But I don't think she had the the wherewithal to go, okay, I can save up money, go to school, do better for myself, or I can do these things. It was, this is my life. I've accepted it, with no drive to do something else.
Yeah. That's almost that loss of ambition. Yeah. Whereas your dad was taking on that very typical male role of providing and doing everything he could to provide and protect the family.
Everything.
Yeah.
My dad would work every single day, 10, 12 hours a day to make sure that we were taken care of.
Yeah.
That's what he did. And then he'd come home and he'd play video games or we'd hang out.
Yeah.
He was trying to be present when he was there, but he always thought about the family.
Yeah. That's interesting because if he was poorer then or had less then, and he was doing everything he could to make sure that you all had more than he did, then I can see that totally being a step up. That would make more sense. Yeah. And even then, still being behind the 8 ball in the grand scheme of things, but then also because he worked so hard to provide.
It also depends your perspective. What is wealth to you?
Yes.
Is it monetary or is it love and family?
Yeah.
Right. So yes, we didn't have monetary. Like I said, there's 3 of us in the household. There's times where my parents would lock the pantry door because we're eating too much. They couldn't afford it. Yeah, I'm not kidding you. Like
teenagers.
Yeah. Like they would very much limit what we could eat and things like that because we didn't have the money. We didn't have these situations. Yeah, it was interesting.
And so a lot of years. So basically, your entire formative years is spent in Coquitlam or Port Coquitlam and in the Vancouver area and everything like that. And so, what was it like going through like school, junior high school? Like
undiagnosed ADHD. So I was. I'm pretty sure my friends did this for a reason, but one of my friends were part of the yearbook committee. I was voted most likely to be in trouble all of the time in grade 8. ADHD and undiagnosed, right? So I have an intellect, so I could read the book, understand everything perfectly. But if it was too challenging for my brain, considering I think I should always understand everything instantly, then I would go, this is too hard. And instead of putting myself into it. So my grades were always like straight B's with an A. And that was me just showing up in class, not doing homework. That's what I could get. But I was always in trouble. A social butterfly. I would want to talk to everyone, probably annoying. Definitely some guys I've met in my life that don't like me.
it's going to be that way.
No, and it's also like I have that because my brother and sister were always getting picked on from my mother.
Okay.
Or little issues like that. My twin brother's gay, so there was issues there for him. And my entire life was always just defend people, help who you can, defend them. And it got me in a lot of trouble.
Okay.
And I'm glad I got out of that now. But in high school, I would pick fights with people because they picked on a female friend of mine, or if they did this and that, try to make a point for whatever reason. Something I wouldn't do now necessarily. But when you're 15, 16, 17, that's what you do.
Well, the degree of trouble you can get in nowadays is different. I don't want to say it's worse. It's different.
It is. It could have the same extent of pain to you, no matter how you look at it from then or now. But then it would be like I'd get arrested for harassing a pizza deli and have to go give out flyers for them. I wouldn't get arrested, but if I did the same stuff I did now, like as a kid, we went to this pizza deli. We were harassing them. We were children. We'd steal pizza from them, things like that. And so one time, a cop pulled up front, arrested me out of everyone, threw me and the cops inside. So I had to go to school, walk to school with handcuffs on, which was
get the ginger kid.
Just get the redhead. Even my buddies were like, "Can you dye your hair so no one knows it's us?" I'm like, "Oh, we could just not get in trouble." But that's different. No, it was high school was interesting. I loved it. I love the social aspect. I love the learning aspect. And I love somewhere always to go.
That's cool. It's it's just funny how you like you said earlier, like it just depends on the crowd that you're around, because that crowd influences your not just your entire life but your day to day. And funny enough, that whole getting in trouble, stealing stuff from that literally just happened at a pita store in town here like this week. And it was a bunch of teens going in stepping on tables, playing music loud on their phones, messing around, stealing chips. And the business owner's like, I don't know what to do. I mean, I can't touch them.
Yeah.
You know, but back in that day, in our day, yeah, they grab you with the scruff of the neck and they throw you at the store. Now that with cameras everywhere, they can't touch you.
No.
So
They have to wait for the cops.
They have to wait for the cops, and they just stand there and collect video evidence. And then nowadays, even when the cops do get there, nobody does anything.
Yeah.
So the whole thing of that, you can still get in trouble, but it's very different now because the consequences are so different.
Well, now I lose my house.
Yeah.
You know, now I would put my missus in a predicament. I would essentially be completely selfish without thinking about other people's feelings.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. You get to a point in life where you just...
Well, it's not just me.
Those are things. Yeah.
You know, if it's just me, yeah, I will do stupid shit. It is what it is. I'll even drive fast. I'll do those things because it's just me.
Yeah.
But the second the missus or a friend's in the car or anything like that, instantly adult, because I don't want them to think that I don't think, like, I care about them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to drive like an idiot, you have people in the car, you clearly don't care. My perspective.
Yeah.
So, you know, I try to treat everyone with respect. I try to do that whole process. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, you can't win them all.
No, no, you can't.
And then you get to your, you know, you graduate high school, you get your 20s, and then you move to Calgary.
So 2 days after I turned 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you spent a couple more years in...
So in about 2 years, I was working in a warehouse. I was not happy. Again, I didn't have any schooling. I never thought about going to school because it was just something I knew we couldn't afford.
Yeah.
So, and then the same thing with like scholarships, that stuff just squizzed. I didn't think about it. I never processed it when I was in school. I didn't have that drive to do it.
Yeah.
And so at 20, moved to Calgary, lived with my grandparents. My brother's there. I moved there because he was there and I wanted to try something new. And within a week of being there, my grandfather's like, you need a job because you're not going to be sitting here mooching off us.
Yeah.
So I luckily got a job with a plumbing company. He's like, it doesn't matter if you're a plumber or not. I'm going to get you a job. Go work this. At least you have something, and then you can try looking for whatever you want later.
So then that's how you fell into the trades.
I spent 11 months in a shop, and that whole time I was working with welding materials, and it was kind of a welding shop for a plumbing company.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was going to be an electrician. I'm like, I want to be in the trades, but I don't want to be a plumber because my grandfather's a plumber. So I'm trying to get these other jobs. It's not working out. And I'm staying with Lockerbie. And I'm like, okay, if I'm going to stay with them, I want to be in the field. Like, they just hired me as a warehouse hand, but I wanted to be an apprentice.
Yeah.
And so I talked to my boss and I was like, listen, can we start an apprenticeship? Can I get in the field? I really want to do that.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, no big deal. So we get the whole process going. I go to site, and that's when I was like, this is fantastic. I can go work. It's adult Lego.
Yeah.
You know, you put in a unit here, you got to pipe everything to it. Everything has to look nice and square. Learning how to solder, learning how dangerous a construction site is.
Yeah.
Meeting more men with mental health issues than I have ever met in my life.
Of varying extremes, too.
Oh,
yeah.
You've got the happy-go-lucky person that doesn't matter what happens, it's going to be a great day.
Yeah.
And you've got the one guy that someone breathes and they're snapping. Snapping because they didn't drink enough that night before. They didn't have their drink in the morning, or something happened when they were younger they still haven't dealt with, and they just take it on other people.
Yeah. That's completely rampant across the trades.
Yeah.
It was one of the reasons why I just didn't want to get into the trades when I started, or like before, you know, trying to make a decision in terms of, my dad said, you know, learn this skill and you'll be set. And I was like, I don't want to spend time with people like you. Just a bunch of assholes. Why would I want to hang out with people like that all the time? I have a dad. I just want one guy. That's it. No, there's an army of them out there. So, that's a Pandora's box right there.
Yes.
So, you being a young guy, entering the trades,
20, yeah,
on the job site after spending some time at the shop. And now you're kind of seeing what real life is about being on the job and being in the trades. So we'll get into the mental health aspect of it, because that's a big juicy bite there. But in terms of like, let's go through like a day to day, because there's a lot of people that are looking at, there's a lot of young men, like a lot of young people, and there's women entering the trades too,
which is good.
Which is good. But what do you think kind of like you grabbed onto, and it was just like going to the site and kind of doing all these things, sounded like that was a big influence. But what was something you're like, I think I can do this for a really long time, because there's just so much to learn?
So the first little bit, it was strictly just we were doing a reno in this building, the old Children's Hospital in Calgary. So it was more renoing stuff and not really actual plumbing. And then at a point, I actually get to learn how to solder and what we do, and that's when everything was like, this is so new. This is something that's going to take time to acquire all the little nuances to be really good. Plumbing is everything from setting a carrier in a wall for a wall mount sink, to running your water lines, your drainage lines for 5-6 different materials. It's about working with electricians, tin bashers, everyone on a construction site, because it's not just you. You have to work with other people. It is a 7 to 3:15 job where the whole time you're pretty much working, the whole time you're thinking, the whole time you're using your body. It gets exhausting. The temperature ranges. If the building isn't enclosed, you've got anywhere from -30 to +45,
especially in Calgary.
Yeah. And there's days where you want to wear shorts and sandals because it's so hot, and there's some days where you're wearing 3 sets of socks, long johns, insulated pants, 3 long sleeves, a big jacket, and you're still cold.
Yeah.
Like it's for someone with ADHD or someone that likes change, it is really nice.
Yeah.
I got in the trades to enjoy it because there was constantly things to do. There was always this task, that task. And a lot of it had to do with learning something and then doing it yourself, as opposed to waiting on people, sitting in an office. Sitting in an office would not be my cup of tea, especially when I first got into working. It wouldn't have happened. I'd love the fact, okay, I'm going to get these fittings, and I'm going to go walk half a kilometer to the sea can to grab what I need in a bag. I'm going to bring it back and then clean everything up. And then we're going to set everything up. And then you can see piece by piece how your job is coming together.
Yeah.
And then you see people that don't have running water, people don't have things like that, and how nice it is that we can supply that for them. How we work in a hospital so people can get help.
Yeah.
I had to work at a children's hospice in Calgary at the new children's hospital. The whole time I'm there, my journeyman's like, this is sad that we have to build this building. And I said, yes, but we are building it properly. We're going to build to the point where they have nothing to worry about, that all they have to do is sit here and just be with their family.
Yeah. And everything works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's our responsibility. No matter what we're doing, we're helping people indirectly.
Was that something that was influenced and taught to you early on, or was that something that you learned along the way?
Definitely learned.
Okay.
Because essentially it was just first, you need to do this small project and we're going to pay you for it.
So that greater sense of your effort and your work ethic into the craftsmanship that you were putting into your job, that's something that you just cultivated over time. You didn't have somebody telling you behind you, being like, we got to do a good job because we want to make sure that these people have nothing to worry about. Because that would be not something atypical you would hear on a job site.
No. So that warning about caring about other people was just something that I've acquired because I needed to find value in what I did at a certain time. And that was it. Typically the conversations are not, it's usually we need to get this done because we're on a schedule, or this blah 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 blah. It's not caring about other people.
Yeah. I think that if you had journeymen and you had companies that would be like, they understand it's a wash, rinse, repeat in a lot of aspects, because you go into a unit or into a building and there's going to be some things that are going to be the same. It's just rerun differently from job to job.
Yeah.
But if you had somebody positively influencing you and being like, even if it was a kind of an initial briefing of the day, like, okay, you're working on this today, these guys are working on that today, let's do a good job because we don't want to come back and do it again, or we want a good job because the site super or the general contractor is really feels like he doesn't have to watch over us because we do good work. Let's keep that up. Let's keep that going. You don't hear that on job sites.
No.
And do you think that would have been, we already know that it would be a positive influence, but in terms of impact of something like that, especially for younger guys coming in now or younger people coming in now, how do you think that would affect how they see their future in the trades?
2 weeks into the trades, I got a journeyman to come over, saw some work that was crooked, and he told me everything you do has your name on it. Everything. So if you can be proud that you did that and walk away, do it. But if you can't, fix it.
Did he yell at you?
No. No. He was sarcastic about it.
Okay.
But there's no yelling. And if you can communicate something in a neutral tone, great. That's a preferred, if it's not positive, neutral. But when you start yelling, people don't listen.
Yeah.
You start getting your defense mechanisms up. You start thinking you're less than, that shame of, oh, I did something wrong, I'm going to lose my job, over someone just having a fit in their head.
Yeah.
No, I think if people would get positive reinforcement, if they were to get told, you made a mistake, you're going to make mistakes, we're going to work through it, we're going to teach you how to do better. Like I got taught by union members.
Yeah.
I got that. We're going to take time to train you.
Yeah.
We're going to take time to make sure you know how to, if you're cutting a piece of unistrut, you take your grinder or file, you clean the edges off. That's good piping practice, so you don't cut yourself, so no one else cuts themselves.
Yeah.
And it's safe. But it's little things like that I got taught that make me a tradesman, not a journeyman. I'm not a journeyman. I'm not a guy with a ticket.
Yeah.
I'm a tradesman. I take time, effort, and patience in what I do to make sure it's quality, so I can walk away and someone goes, hey, that looks really nice.
Yeah.
And that functions.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to be that guy that's always coming back to fix stuff.
No. But if we get taught at the beginning stages, like it's rough when you're a first year and you're saying, go drill holes over there, or we don't have time to train you, so we're just going to give you something small to do.
Yeah.
The role of the journeyman is to spend the time with an apprentice to teach them things. But when you've got a job site with one journeyman, 4 apprentices, you don't have that. You don't give that time to train, and then you got people getting confused. You get people getting yelled at because what you told one apprentice, you think you told the other one, or even if you told them once, they're an apprentice.
Yeah,
they're not going to remember this. There's going to be so much on their mind.
Repeat.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's being patient. If you can be patient with the apprentices, if you can be understanding, don't treat apprentices like you were treated as an apprentice.
Yeah.
I've seen so many journeymen go, I was taught this way, I was treated this way, I'm going to do the same thing to someone else. Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy that connection? No. Why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Why are you treating them like shit? Just to get your angst and anger out? Because now it's fair, I'm a journeyman, I can treat people like crap? No.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that similar mind frame of how frats treat their initiates or whatever. Somebody trying to get into a frat and they haze them, and it's no different. It's kind of like a hazing.
Oh, yeah.
Almost like it's this trial by fire that you got to go through this because I did, and realistically, all it does is just create just more really toxic people in the,
yes,
because now they're angry. They got to come to work. They drank themselves to sleep, just like the journeyman drank himself to sleep because he's pissed off about something. Now the apprentice is
drinking because of the journeyman.
Yeah, it becomes this. Oh, now I got my ticket. Now I'm going to start yelling at kids too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty common. I mean, I got my fair share of being yelled at and treated like crap, and I mean, I entered when I was in my 40s. And getting yelled at.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I don't know this. And then they would flip it on me and say, well, you're older, you should. It's
bullshit.
Like, but if you've never had to wear steel-toed boots for a job, and now you're walking into a job
completely.
I've worn steel-toe boots. Like I worked in a welding shop and like I took a first year pre-apprenticeship for heavy duty mechanics. Never got into it because that was something that my dad was like, you're going to do this. Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
And it wasn't. I didn't like it because he was a mechanic, but an airframe mechanic.
Yeah.
Whereas I didn't really like mechanic. I didn't get the same joy out of it. So yeah, and that, I think that's the other thing too, is that a lot of people some people join, some people fall into it. Some people were told you need to get a job, like my buddy down the street, my uncle, my bro, my friend, whatever, has a job. You're going to go do this, and that's really common too. And then that vicious cycle of getting yelled at and treated poorly.
Well, you can tell those people in the trade because they don't put the energy into it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. If you don't want to be there, I can tell you don't want to be there. There's apprentices I've had where I like, my rule is always give them as much information over a time period and always reiterate it to them. So that way it's just kind of put into it, and I'm not expecting them to know everything the first day.
Yeah.
But if I talk to an apprentice for 3 weeks in a row and they're still not cluing into what I'm saying, I know it's not me.
Yeah.
Because I will change my communication style to fit them. And if they're not doing it, they don't have the drive to do this. They don't want to be here. They're probably on their phone in a corner somewhere because this sucks.
Yeah.
You know? So I've seen it where this is what they wanted to do. I've seen it where they thought their aptitude was best suited for construction because they couldn't fit in an office setting, or they didn't think they were smart enough.
Yeah.
Again, most things are just take time to learn, but you pigeonhole yourself because other people do that to you too. You're not smart enough, you should be in the trades, or you're a man, you should be in the trades.
Yeah.
Not like, hey, have you decided the things you enjoy in life and maybe progress into something that way? And so that way, when you go to work in the morning, you're smiling, and it may not be work. You know, I had that for plumbing for years because it was so new. There's so many nuances.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing industrial, commercial, a little bit of residential, like, and so many different systems from 1/2-inch pipe to 42-inch pipe. It was so much fun. But after 10 years,
it starts to wear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the guys that I see in the trade, that want to be there, like we have some apprentices at Radian that want to be there.
Yeah.
They have goals to get their ticket and to go take that ticket somewhere else. And they want to learn as much as possible. I love those guys. Give you information. This is why you do it. Come and ask me. I'll give you as much as you possibly can take.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to get rid of all this information. I'm not going to be using it for my next career.
Yeah.
So please take it. You know, and they want to take it, where some just don't. And I don't waste my time with them. I don't spend a little time to get the nuances, to not babysit, but to watch, to make sure they do it right 5 times and then leave them alone. Usually I'm like, I'll just get someone else to do it. Here, go dig a hole.
Yeah.
You know, I can say that I've gotten complacent sometimes, especially the more I've been in the trades, where I can write someone off really quickly. And it's not fair to them. Maybe they're having a bad week, month, year, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But I don't want to put my time into someone that doesn't actually appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know?
You can get that sense too, because, you know, if they keep making the same mistake over and over on the same task, you know, at a certain point, it just becomes frustrating. And then that's typically where somebody would yell at them or just lose their mind on them or whatever.
Yeah, that's the trades. Yell. Now, you don't need to yell. You could quite possibly communicate in a way that is forceful, but not mean. For instance, if someone's taken the 4th time, it's like, I know that we've had this conversation 4 times. And I know that for some reason it's not registering. Like, this is me being polite. It's not registering. So maybe there's a thing where we can work together and I'll do part while you do part.
Yeah.
And we can get these steps together. So your role as a journeyman, foreman, whatever, is to be able to communicate with someone to the point where they can get what you're trying to teach them or get what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
If you can't, that's on you.
Yeah.
Right? So if it's on me, and it's still not working, I'm just going to get frustrated with that person eventually and then pass them on to someone else.
Yeah.
You know, you can only do so much before it's like,
Well, yeah, obviously they're not taking the points that you're trying to make. And yeah.
And then I feel like I'm talking to myself.
You got a lot of young people, and don't get me wrong. There's a huge need for people that want to be there, want to learn, and there's a lot to learn. It is never ending. It's still every day. There's something.
20 years.
I'm still learning something new every day. So I mean, you could have 5 different tickets, and you could be a master in every single one of those tickets. There's gonna be something that comes along the way. You're gonna learn new. That is the trades,
and that's fantastic.
That in of itself that's kind of rare. Almost no different than people learning something new about the human body or technology. Like, there's always going to be something new. and something to learn. So that
100%.
part makes it interesting.
Fun.
Yeah.
Less boring, less monotonous.
Yeah. Because there are times when it is monotonous. Very, very monotonous.
Yeah, we got 14 A suites in this building. Go do them all.
Yeah.
They're all the exact same. Can I do like a B somewhere, maybe a C somewhere to spice this up? No? Do the same one? Yay!
Yeah. 200 times. Yeah. Yeah. Or we have 150 toilets. Go install all of them. Yeah. Oh, so I got really good at putting in toilets.
Yeah, once you do 40, you're not thinking anymore.
No.
Your brain's off. Like finishing, I did finishing for 4 months straight. Same thing. Toilet, sink, rinse and repeat. That's how I learned how to sing.
Yeah.
I was so bored. I was like, hey, I need to learn something. Let's put on City and Color. Let's learn how to sing.
Yeah.
I was going to go crazy.
So is that how you kind of maintained your pace and your just like your positive outlook, is when you get something that's so mundane and highly repetitive that you're just like, you know, music goes in or something else to just kind of keep that rolling.
100%.
Yeah.
The first couple times I do something, it's maybe a little music, but I want to work out the nuances of how to do it.
Yeah.
You know, how does this flange sit? How does this toilet sit? When I rip it apart the first time, it might take me 45 minutes to put it together. The next time it's going to take me 15.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take that time to go through it quietly. And then once you get in that rhythm, that routine, I need something to shut off part of my brain, or else I'm going to get so bored that I'm just not going to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So like I have to tell myself, I have to get this done because this is my job and I'm getting paid for it. I need food. So I have to do this. How do I make this better? Okay, well, I love singing. I love podcasts. I love knowledge. I love other people's opinions because it helps you formulate your own.
Yeah.
So let's do music. I did music. I turned into podcasts as well. And podcast is actually what got me into switching from being a plumber to
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So you spent how many years in the trades? I think you said 20. Is 20
in
plus.
February 10th, it'll be 20 years.
This February will be 20 years on the nose. Okay.
Yeah.
And then out of those 20 years, I don't know if this is going to be, because you've worked in every field of what a plumber would do.
Residential, commercial, industrial,
and service.
Yeah.
And not everybody gets those chances to do that. Like I can't see myself doing industrial, but I've done the other three.
Yeah.
And so out of all the years that you spent in there and all the different companies, is there anything within that time frame that stands out the most to you in terms of like a job, the people you worked with, the company you worked with? Is there anything that was just kind of like, you know, you when you're doing something mundane and all of a sudden your brain just kind of kicks in and be like, hey, you remember that time? Is there anything in there that stands out the most to you?
Like job wise or
anything? You know, that's the way our brains work, right?
Yeah.
We always think back on.
So I did hospitals, wastewater treatment plants, water treatment plants, hospices, schools, lift stations, condo buildings, homes, towers. I did oil field stuff for Suncor, doing shutdowns there. I did stuff at Curl Lake, which was 42-inch pipe. I think for me, the best was when I was doing Curl Lake.
Okay.
Because I had just got my ticket. Yeah. Because it actually took me 5.5 years and not 4. My dad was sick, couldn't go to school. After he passed, I finally had time to go and to do it. So it took me a little bit longer. So I got my ticket and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try something new. Did industrial. And it was the first time, because I worked for one company for 6.5 years.
Yeah.
Lockerbie, 100%. Okay. So after that, it was a new company, new people, new everything. And I got treated exactly like a journeyman. And everything I was doing, people listened. I knew what I was doing because I had all the experience with pipe fitting when I worked for Lockerbie, because we did a bunch of that. And I knew how to pipe fit. Like I'm a second-year journeyman plumber, gas fitter, second-year steam fitter. Like I could challenge the exam. But it was just 42-inch pipe with a 90 and a 90 and a flange. And we have to lift it over the mod with cranes. Then we got to bring it inside the mod with come-alongs. And we have to do the bolt-up for it. It takes 12, 14 hours to do it. To me, that was the best stuff I've done.
Huh.
Like that and mechanical rooms.
Yeah.
10-year mark when I left Calgary and I moved to Kelowna, that was the happiest I was before I left.
Okay.
Because after 10 years, I designed this mechanical room, which matched for 2 other schools we were doing.
Yeah.
So my mechanical room, I used as a master, and I gave the other guys my drawings. I said, you guys can do this. This is what it's going to look like. Mine, I had compliments from every single trade coming in because they've been to all the schools. And I went to the other schools, and I realized some people can't do what I can do.
Mm.
And that whole moment of everyone praising me, like before I left, praising me, saying everything was so good, and this is the best mechanical room out of all of them, and the guys I had working for me were great. The positivity out of them was fantastic. Like, it was just a great experience before I left.
Yeah.
You know?
Huh.
So between that and that, like, there's always times where you meet a guy or a girl on that job site and you just get along with them so well, and it makes that job.
Yes.
You know, or if you get that community of, you know, like when I was an apprentice, there's 4 or 5 of us at the time. So we'd go have lunches together, we'd hang out together. And it was just like, I like this sense of community, you know? Yeah. You have something in common, plumbing. We're all different, but we're getting along.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been on jobs where people don't get along, people are screaming all the time. And to have that as my last job, and then to have that experience up in Crow Lake where people just treated me with respect, as opposed to you're a journeyman, you're an apprentice, or this and that, or I remember when you fucked this up, so I'm not going to treat you with respect. It was just like, yeah, it was a good 10 years of enjoying my job and loving all the aspects of it. And then as soon as I moved to Kelowna to do service, that's when I realized I wasn't happy and I didn't know what to do.
Okay.
But 9 years later, finally,
finally you decided to pull the trigger on something else.
There is nothing to be said about the experiences you can have in the trades. I traveled from Calgary to Fort Mac, to Crow Lake past Fort Mac, you can do oil rigs, you can do camp jobs, you can do gold mines. Like, once you get your ticket or whatever you want to do, there is no avenue you can take that can stop you.
Yeah.
If you want to specialize in pools, great. There is a huge demand for pools here and anywhere else that's hot. Learn the specificity of it and do it.
Yeah.
You want to do water treatment. You want to do just condos. Like, there is so much to be done in the trades.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons why, like you said, like, I've jumped into the 4 aspects of plumbing, like all the different regions, and I'm no longer challenged. Some might say mentally challenged. But when it comes to coming into an experience and someone here, these are the drawings, that's the equipment, make it work, and they walk away, I feel completely comfortable that I can do that.
Yeah.
And not have any questions, like have anything fail to the point where, like, I massively couldn't do it. I call the company that makes it. I ask them for their drawings. I'll call this person, that person, that person to get as many details as I can.
Yeah.
Then I get all that together, figure out how it all has to work, and then I start.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not challenged anymore. The troubleshooting aspect that I loved so much in the trades is just gone.
Yeah.
It's just so much quicker now because I have that experience.
Yes.
You know, especially in mechanical rooms.
Well, it became your kung fu.
Yeah. It's my joy, my love, I'm glad that I'm going to be finishing my career off in mechanical rooms.
Yeah.
That was when I talked to my boss and he said, you want to do this, this, and this? And I said, mechanical rooms. That to me, and he said, yes, that to me was like the icing on the cake to finish off my career. Which he doesn't even know about.
But not everybody gets that, though, and that's rare. That I think, just from what I've experienced, and I've only been officially in the trades for like five plus years, and I think just what I've seen from a variety of different people who have their tickets, and even people who are starting, but the people who have spent years and years in the trades, yeah, I think ending it in the way that you're ending it with the transition, that I think that's really rare, amazing and rare.
Yeah.
So that accomplishment in of itself, I would imagine, is a pretty big feather in your cap and a big point of pride.
100%.
And it should be, because that's a big deal. Not everybody gets it. So then you realized 9-10 years ago, okay, you know what? Exit strategy. This is not for me anymore. And you kind of got to that point. What made you decide, or how did you arrive to transitioning from being in the trades to now going into the mental health? Because, like, 9 years, a long time to try and
figure
out what you want to do, which direction. How can I make the same amount of money, or how can I get the same gratification and the same mastery, or like, there's a lot of questions you ask yourself when you're going through, like, what the hell do I want to do?
Yeah.
How did you get there?
Well, I wasn't going to get out of the trade. I was going to stay in the trade, but I was going to do other aspects. So I was thinking about being a plumbing inspector.
Yeah.
I was pushing to be a foreman, but I realized that I don't want to do that. I don't want the headache. I don't want to take the job home, which is what I always do.
Yeah.
And then since I have ADHD, I hyperfocus, and then my social life, my real life gets hindered because all I'm doing is thinking about work.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. And so, I thought about being a plumbing inspector. I thought about specializing, maybe getting my gas A and doing that, still in the trades, but just different aspects, and then I just realized that it was the trades that I didn't want to be in. I didn't want to, my pinky and ring finger every single winter freeze over. There is not a day for 3 weeks that this whole portion of my hand doesn't go numb because of work. And I don't want that anymore. I don't want to freeze at work anymore. And for years being in the trades, people have said, why are you in the trades? You don't belong here. The way that you talk, the way you think, all these things, you shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, I have ADHD and I love this. Well, I didn't have ADHD. I just said, I love this.
I like Lego.
Yeah. I didn't realize I was 30 with ADHD. So for that first 10 years, it was just, this is fun. This is so much fun. I get to do these things. I get paid to use power tools.
Yeah.
And then, as soon as it got to the point where about 18 years in, so 2 years ago, I was like, I don't want to stay in the trades. So what do I want?
Yeah.
Now, my entire life, like I said earlier, I've been on my brother's side, on my sister's side. I'd fight their battles for them. And I realized that I just like helping people.
Yeah.
But I need to take myself out of the position of being their savior. And I need to be just a little bit of a conscience in the ear so they have their own strength. And that's when I started realizing that, like, having all these epiphanies to what I want to do, what I want to spend the next 20 years, 40 years doing. And I want the opportunity not to be in one building for 2 years, break my body down. I'd like the opportunity to travel if I want and still work.
Yeah.
I want the opportunity to not break my body down anymore. And knowing that I had the aptitude for something else, I figured I might as well try something. Like, there's two things that are very, 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 very complex in this world. One is the sciences and one is human beings, right? I have no interest in devoting myself to sciences because there's so much in there and there's already brighter people doing that. Not to say there isn't in therapy and the way the mind works, but I love that more because every single individual will be something a little different. It'll be so many different life experiences.
Yeah.
And now I've got to find my way to communicate with them, to find, like, I need to get them their strength to find out what they want to do. And I need to find the tools to do that. And I need to get the information so I can give them the best way of thinking so they can get their strength back so they can do that, And I think for me, I've always talked to people. I've always been an ear. For some reason, people like talking to me. One of the reasons is I don't judge. I don't think it's fair to judge. Every human being has a reason for doing what they did.
Yeah.
Everyone's different. Everyone will have different religious views or non-religious views. They will have different views on men and women. They will have different views on everything. They either got beat when they were a child or didn't get beat with it. Like, there's just so many things that you have to work together to learn about a person to better help them. So I want that troubleshooting.
Yeah.
And I love talking with people.
Yeah.
That has always been my thing, is communicating with someone to hear their story, to hear their laughter, to hear any of it is just so compelling to me. Where it's rare that it happens in the trades. It's rare that you have a really good heart to heart, or when you do, it's with someone that you're like, I don't even like you. I'm getting paid to do this job, not to talk to you, but you're a horrible human being, but I have to sit here and listen to it because I have nowhere else to go. We're
stuck in these same four walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to have an opportunity to do something for the next 20, 40, however long I'm alive, to help people, to learn about people, and the end game is to write some books to help people live their lives.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like a Bible type scenario. I don't believe in preaching. I think it's more of like I've run it through my head a couple of times, but it's more of like if I knew this information when I was younger, I would have been way better off. I would have been better suited for high school. I would have been better suited for real life interactions, how to deal with things.
Yeah.
Like people don't deal with grief. A lot of people, men and women, use substance to deal with it. They don't actually process the feelings and sit in the pain to let it get through them, get out, and let them move on.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's substance abuse, whether it's doing things that people would think to be unsafe, skydiving or this and that, or some people think
adrenaline junkies.
Yeah. Promiscuity.
Yes.
Yeah. For doing that and just trying to find connection with someone else randomly. Like you're searching. You're searching.
They're looking for that dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then hopefully I'll get this connection because you've had that trauma in that past. You've had something that's lingering, that's still playing a factor. You just don't realize it. And for me to take some schooling that I've had, and like the other thing about this is schooling does not stop. There is so much information I haven't read up till this point, and from this point on, there's going to be new information.
Yeah.
So it's more about, for me, it's specializing. What is the human qualities? Let's understand that. And then I want to work with people either in the trades or with ADHD or something like that because I have that experience.
Yeah.
Not to say that I don't want to help other people, but I know that most therapists do not have trade experience.
True. Yeah. Most of the time they've either gone through some stuff when they were younger and then they found themselves in mental health in some capacity. I don't want to speak for, there's so many different directions on how people arrive to where they are.
Yeah.
But you're right. I don't think there's a lot of people that have spent a lot of time in the trades and then made the change to mental health. Which, I mean, everybody out there that's wanting to, you know, like, I think it's just the way that people view. I've heard tradesmen. I heard one of my journeymen that I worked with. He said there was me and another guy in the room, and we were at the shop. And he's like, I can't make that thing, that company thing or whatever. I've got an appointment, and I don't ask. If somebody's like, I got an appointment, it could be anything.
Yeah.
Literally from like, I got to take my cat, I got a dentist appointment, I got a massage, whatever it might be. So the other journeyman said, well, what's your appointment? And he's like, oh, I've got my counseling session, so I can't make that thing. And the other journeyman called him a pussy. And I could actually, now the journeyman that was going to the appointment, for a moment, I can actually see that little tiny heartbreak. It was so minute, but you know, you notice certain things. It just kind of like almost like in his head, like, why the fuck did you have to say that? Like, now, but he was kidding, but it doesn't change the fact that, because a lot of people use also humor as a mask, and I think we've all done that. But fact of the matter is that I just saw for that glimmer, that hurt. And I was like, in my head, and I'm like, why do you even have to say anything? Why did you have to ask first? Because I don't care. If you have an appointment, yep, go to your appointment. We'll talk tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, cool. Because that's your stuff. But then Buddy's like, we gonna cry? Come on.
You know the best part about that is? If you want to use those terms, being a pussy, pussies don't go to therapy.
No.
They're scared. Like that person. They're mocking them. They're belittling them. They're making them feel less than. Therapy is something that you have to go through, and you have to deal with your demons.
Yep.
You have to let all that past stuff that's going to make you cry, that hurt you. You have to learn about feelings. There's more feelings than mad, sad, and I gotta poop.
Yes.
All right. Their mad usually comes from shame, frustration. There's so many different nuances to get to mad, but instead of sitting in these smaller feelings,
it turns into this funnel.
It just goes into mad.
Yeah.
I know what mad is. As opposed to, well, I'm shameful because I said that. Now I'm sad. I don't want to be sad. Fuck them. Okay, well, I'm going to be mad. You know, like that's that vicious cycle.
0 to 100.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's sad. It happens, but in the same regard to that guy, that's probably what he's known for his entire life. I'm going to bust people's balls. I'm going to make fun of them because of this, as opposed to therapy is the hardest thing you're going to do.
Yeah, maybe you should do some shadow work and some CBT and cognitive behavioral therapy, and you know, maybe somebody should be asking you some hard questions. But
when was the last time you thought about something that hurt you when you were younger, and process it, so when it happens, something like that commonly happens to you now, you don't react the way you do. You don't lose your shit. If, like, I know people that if you say the word cunt, oh my God, the world is going to end, and that is the worst thing in the world.
mm-hmm.
And I know other people that throw it out like the or ah.
Yeah.
So it's, you hold the power of words to yourself, whatever you think it should mean.
Yeah.
So if you think that talking with your friends in a demeaning way is a good thing, and your other friends think the same way, then that actually works as a relationship. But if you're that guy and they're not those people, it's just you're gonna butt heads, and you're gonna be looking at them like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
But this is the way I communicate. Well, don't.
Yeah, don't take it personally, but this is the way I am.
Yeah, it's like, that's great, but I'm gonna take it personally because you're a dick.
Yeah, you flipped it, and now you're blaming me. Wait a second, is this what gaslighting feels like? So you've done your coursework.
Yeah.
You're working on your volunteer hours. You're getting pretty close to being completed.
A couple more months and I'll be done.
That's huge, because this has taken 2 years, a little over 2 years.
By the time everything's said and done, where I could maybe switch over to, it'll be 2 years.
2 years.
Because May of 2024 to May of 2025, I did the course.
Yeah.
And then it's been it'll be about till December till I have everything kind of finalized.
Yeah. Okay. And then
it's a year and a half, and then still trying to get my foot in the door. Like, I'm still going to have to do things. Like, I don't know if next year I'll be able to sit down and actually be a therapist. You know, it's about, I still need to get my clientele. I need to figure out if there's another company I can go to for more of a full-time thing, and then start my own practice. So yeah. I still have to make that money that I'm making now, you know, to balance out my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be within a year that I'll be done. So probably 2.5 years for the whole process to go through.
I think you could probably get there probably faster than you might think.
I could. I just haven't looked into anything right now because I know that I still need to wait till December anyways.
Yeah.
So in my head, especially with ADHD, it's like I can worry about that then.
That's kind of like that's your finish line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I know is I should be messaging companies now, and I should be getting in to understand what route I can take that would be more beneficial to me, and where do I want to work. You know, I've volunteered with a place that does first responders and deals with PTSD, which I think is very interesting. And I also volunteer. So somewhere in there, that whole community is a place for me. I feel completely comfortable with everyone. Like, the dynamic between the trades and this mental health is so drastic.
Yes. The
second I got into volunteering hours with, it was so kind, so understanding, so like, one of the first questions they asked me for the interview was, what do you do for your self-help? How do you self-care? No plumbing company, whatever.
No, they don't. Like no, they don't. Do you have your own tools?
No.
All of them?
Yeah, go. I know. It was, how do you take care of yourself? How do you respond to other people? Do you tell people what to do? Do you give advice or no? And that whole process was like, wow, this is different.
Yeah.
And then everyone I interact with is polite, cordial, has their own story, is here for a reason. And you can see when they're helping and talking to people that it's just respect.
Yeah.
In a good, even tone, and there's laughter and respect. I want to say that again, because sometimes in the trades, you just don't get that.
It's lost.
Yeah. And for the myriad of reasons that it could be, you don't get it. And so that's why I find in the trades, when someone does a good job, I tell them. I make sure they know. And I've had it where a foreman comes down, loses their shit on someone, the guy's almost crying, foreman goes away, I'll come in for 20 minutes, calm them down, let them know that this isn't about him, it's about them.
Yeah.
Get them back to where they're going. Like, I had to do that a bunch with an old foreman or super, just a ridiculous situation. I won't get that in the general health. I won't get that in mental health. I won't get that with therapy.
No, because it is such an opposite. It is such an opposite approach. It really is.
Yeah.
And I think what you're doing is bold. It's one of those things, again, where not a lot of people in the trades would think, do I have an exit strategy? What's my exit strategy? I'm going to go become a therapist, a counselor, a mental health advocate. And there's people that never think of this, that this is an avenue, this is a possible choice, knowing full well, one, they need it.
Yep.
They need to talk out a lot of the stuff that they have never unpacked and never dealt with. And two, you could potentially, and there's room for you, be also an advocate for helping other people. And the trades is, I think I know that the trades is probably one of the most underserviced industries in a variety of different aspects. Everything from mental health to healthy living and well-being to work-life balance. Like a lot of those things are gone. They for lack of a better term, they don't care. They just want the job done. And there's a big difference in approaches. But I also think that there are better approaches, and you have done it, but then also have advocated for that and tried to be that example. Not everybody's going to follow that example, unfortunately.
No, but if one person does, I'm happy.
I think that's all. Well, to save, there's a Jewish proverb: to save a life is to save the world entire. And if you can help one person, that could totally affect their world. And that is, I think what you're doing is huge. But also the mental health industry is really, really big.
Yeah.
You got your counselors all the way up to your psychologists and psychiatrists. Is there something in this new world of mental health? Is there something that you're like, because you're starting a 2-year program, and you start getting into like a lot of the basics and the foundational stuff. Is there something that you've kind of like, I like that. I want to learn more about that, because there's so much.
Like as opposed to like a therapy theory, or just an aspect of therapy that I would deal with?
Yeah, either one, because there's so much to it.
There's two where it's like grief counseling, and couples counseling.
Okay.
Grief because we don't realize what we actually grieve. Your friend isn't around you for 2 years. You haven't seen them. You spent every single day together with them, your best friend. Now they have to go work overseas for 2 years.
Yeah.
You're grieving that relationship.
Yeah.
Right? Whether someone dies or whether someone's just gone out of your life, there is a break from your norm.
A sense of loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and everyone feels it. And it's just how you actually think about it. Is it actually a loss for you? How is it affecting you? Like something hurt you when it affects you. Either you get triggered really easily, you're losing functionality in certain aspects, right? So once you start doing that, okay, you need to process this. So it's grief, and then couples relationship, because like I had issues in my relationship with my missus. And until we started really like feeling comfortable enough to be honest with each other, there were still issues. And she had to be honest with herself. I had to be honest with me.
Yeah.
And when I realized that once we can get this thing connected and actually have those heart-to-heart, those real truthful heart-to-hearts, and try to understand their view, not just my own.
Yeah.
Like we're great. Like right now, even through Harvest, like we are great. We don't see each other. We've made a plan where we're writing in a book every single day when we get home or when we can, so the other person knows what's happening through their day. We send texts each other through ever. I make sure at the home I try to keep it as tidy as I can. Like we're doing all these things to help ourselves because we're in this situation, but we're doing it because we care for the other person.
Yeah.
So if I could ever preach to anyone about anything, it would be deal with your grief and have good relationships and know how to communicate. Yeah. I think that would stop a lot of things. Like there are other things like when you're younger, there's a certain way that you grow through your stages. And if you start getting hindering anywhere in there through life, it could stagnate you and create little issues throughout your adulthood. You find it with some people that have a blankie when they're 40. Yeah. They still haven't had that little bit of a disconnect. They're still living in that moment because at that moment it was safer than what's happening. Yeah. Yeah. But I think in those two areas, there, like you said, there's just so many things you could touch on and little aspects. But I think to me, it'll be learn how to communicate with couples, to be able to let them have a time where they both can be heard and that they can figure out together how to make it work, you know? And then with grief, it's what is grief? How is it affecting you? And how can you get through it?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I probably, those two are the things that really affected me. You know, like I didn't, great-grandfather died when I was 7. When I was 13, my brother killed himself in a Salika. When I was 25, my dad died of cancer. When I was 27, my adopted mother died of the same cancer. So around 30 is when I was like, oh, I'm fucked. I'm literally drinking myself and doing enough cocaine right now to put down a horse.
Yeah.
And it's because I haven't dealt with my shit.
Yeah.
And in the last 5 years, from 35 on, it's been therapy.
Yeah.
And I communicate better with people at work. I don't get snappy at people at work anymore like I used to. And I want to help because I'm no longer in my head thinking I'm a victim.
Yeah.
That I have the strength now in myself to give that to someone else.
Yeah.
You know, and that was I am not just a person in therapy being a therapist. I'm a person that's gone through this, put as much energy into it as I could, because when I was 14, I was always happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
If I'm 30 and snapping at people over simple, stupid shit, something happened there.
Yeah.
Between those two ages, something really happened that I am not changing. That affected me so much that I can't be this person. I love this person.
Yeah.
I got along with everyone. My days were happier. Now I'm hating the world. So I stopped drinking, or at least slowed down my drinking. I stopped doing cocaine. I started doing therapy. I told my mother that I forgive her for the things that she did. I didn't tell her, but in my head, I told her.
Yeah.
Felt this thing through my body, all these tingles, and it doesn't affect me anymore.
You let it go.
I let it go, finally.
Yeah.
Finally, I let it go.
Something is so simple as, you know, because they talk about they talk about neurokinetics and stuff like that, and teaching yourself how to rewrite and restructure the events that have happened in your life, and just to go through it, but then also like you said, it's not you, it's them.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is you. Maybe it's a reaction
in certain regards, yes.
Situation, whatever it might be. But yeah, like for you to have an epiphany like that and to go through and be like, okay, there's all this shit, da 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 da, and to just say that one thing to like your mom or like to someone else, and to just let that wave hit you, and then once it's washed away and you've let it go, to leave it let go. So I don't think there's enough of that. You had the wherewithal.
Yes. And you also have to be comfortable. Like, you have to know how to cry.
Yeah.
Like, when I was 17 years old, I was dating this girl. She made fun of me because I cried. So I didn't cry for 13 years.
Yep.
Unless I was drunk. So I had to be drinking in order to cry, because that's my unlock key for crying.
Well, yeah, your inhibitions are gone, and you're like, you know,
less restricted and my guard's down, kind of thing. Yeah, so I'm glad I can cry now.
Yeah. Without the booze to be
without the booze, I feel like a human being. I can watch a show and actually be a part of it. Like I was watching some Hallmark show.
Yeah.
And someone's dad had passed in the whole situation. I'm just tearing up. I'm like, what are we doing? I'm just a show. You know, but it felt great.
Yeah.
Because I didn't block myself anymore, that I just let my emotions be what they were. Crying does not make you a pussy.
Yeah.
Crying does not mean you're not a man. You are a man when you're crying, because you're a human.
Yes.
Dealing with emotions. You're not bottling up so later on you can get drunk and beat your wife, because that's how you deal with your emotions.
Yeah.
Which is horrendous.
Yeah.
And it happens. But if you process things that way, when the tiniest little thing happens, it's not a level 20. It's a level 1. It's no big deal. But if you've got so much real estate taken up in your head about negativity, and that one thing, that person cuts you off, someone didn't open a door for you properly, and then you lose your shit on them.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with that incident. It has nothing to do with that person at all. It's you can't control what's happening in your head right now. You're overwhelmed. And so you're taking it out on someone else.
So we're seeing that more and more nowadays, with people are saying, you know, we used to sticks and stones. That is such a simple thing, sticks and stones, but words will never hurt me, kind of thing. But now it's flipped.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing words as a state of physical violence towards somebody. And we're seeing it more and more and more now, to the point where
you'd rather hit someone than insult them,
or even worse, which happened last week with Charlie Kirk getting shot. And you know, whether there was some external influence to this individual who does not deserve to be named, or just something that welled up inside them for years and years. And we're seeing that, you know, and you're going to probably see that in counseling. You know, you're going to be dealing with a variety of different people, and some of those people might be going through some gender identification issues, and trying to understand where they fit in the world. And I think,
because physically people think they're one thing, mentally they are not. And then you constantly have to have a battle with someone. It's like, no, I am not this, you know, or then you have to disguise yourself in a way to try to cheat the system. Like, no, I look like this, so I am this, as opposed to, you know, a young girl going, oh, well, you look like a girl. It's, no, I'm a man. It's, it would be very challenging, very, very challenging to be yourself.
I knew someone that was a psych nurse in Calgary, and the psychologist, there's like a handful of psychologists that were part of the unit. And she sat in with a patient when the doctor was talking to the patient, and the doctor, you know, filling out the chart and all this information. And the patient said, I want you to refer to me as it. And he said, well, on your intake form, it says male and female, and you checked off female, and you didn't check off prefer, and your name is this. And she said, no, I want you to refer to me as it. I am genderless. And the psychologist specifically told this individual, you are mentally ill. I will not refer to you as an object. You are a human being. You were born this way. And I will refer to you by your name, but I will not call you something that is like that is an object. You're not an object. You're a human being. So I will call you by your name, but I will not call you it. That broke her. She lost it. Very upset. And there, I mean, you may encounter that, you know, somewhere along the way. I guess how do you feel about, because that in of itself is a hot button right now.
Okay, so my view on that is he's not comfortable doing that because in his brain he associates it with nothing. He doesn't want to call this person nothing. So instead of him being uncomfortable and being confused, he's just going to call it by its name. And then that way there is no confusion who the doctor's talking to. But trying to show as much respect as you can while the doctor's in an uncomfortable position, and so is the person.
And there's a lot of that. I mean,
there's people that go, I don't care what you think, this is what it says. Especially the old school ones, where now it's in mental health. It's, I'm not right or wrong about these things. Like, if you want me to call you anything, feel free. Tell me. Just tell me what it is, and I'll go with it. The reason why is because in my form of therapy, I'm here for you. So whatever makes you feel most comfortable, yes, there's going to be some times when someone is going to say something to me and I'll feel uncomfortable. And hopefully that's on me to have that conversation with them and we can discuss it. You know, if someone wants me to call them a tree, we're going to have a little bit of a conversation so I can understand why.
Okay.
You know, I don't care, because this is your life. This is your perspective on life. This is how you take life. And so for me to go, well, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. No, I'm not wrong. I'm not that person. So I can't say they're wrong. So yeah, this whole next years are going to be very hard, because you got the older psychologists and therapists that have this one mentality, and then you have the younger ones, or the ones just getting into it, going, well, we want to accept as much as we can, because that's how people get through therapy. They're not feeling judged. They're not feeling like they have to defend themselves to their therapist. You shouldn't have to, you know.
Well, then we have therapists that are also adversely providing advice and guidance and direction, because, you know, you got young teenagers that are going through some identity issues and situations, and, you know, hormones are going all over the place, and they don't, some days they don't know which way is up. They don't know how they feel. They don't know what they're experiencing. You're going to have some counselors that are going to be like asking a lot of questions, kind of like how you would do, like, hey, get me to where you are right now.
Yeah.
You know, like, what did you go through? Why are you feeling this way today? Yep. What is all the stuff? Whereas you've got some that are like, I'm sorry, this is going on. So you're saying that you feel like a boy? Well, here's some drugs to help you along with making that change in your life.
Yeah.
So I guess how would your approach be in terms of, because there's going to be you're going to encounter a lot of challenges with that.
Hopefully.
And I guess keeping the conversation rolling, keeping it open, trying to understand. Because I mean, you know, coming from a trades background where this tool, no matter what tool you pick up, is a hammer. It doesn't matter the drill, hammer. Tape measure, hammer. The hammer is a screwdriver.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going from
also support sometimes too.
Yeah. You just hold it up for me. Okay. So going from that, knowing that there are certain things, certain applied tools, certain things, certain places, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And now you're going to be like, not everything has its place. Not everything. Everything is shapeable. So how are you gonna handle those differences with such a different piece of wood is a piece of wood, whereas this person thinks they're a furry?
Yeah. With respect, with honesty, with understanding, with questions. If I don't know, I will try to find the most polite way of asking a question. I always ask, are you comfortable with me saying this? Do you feel like you want to tell me this? Because it's not an obligation when going through therapy. And I think if I don't know something, I can either refer out or I can spend the time and research it myself afterward and then take that to our next session, that information. There's going to be a lot of things people tell me that either something I would never do.
Yeah.
I've had some clients right now, I guess friends, but clients right now that I've talked to that have done, they started off the same place I was. I had no emotions. I didn't know the difference between happy and sad. Like I said, happy, mad, poop. Those were the three emotions I had.
Yeah.
And so when I learned these emotions and got that broader, I'm seeing people with the same situation. And so it's nice because I can be like, I was there. So we're going to slowly get you into this. We're going to slowly teach you what this is. And like therapy is 70% them, 30% you as a therapist. No matter what I do, no matter how many trips and things that I can do for you to help you out, if you're not going to put the energy in to make the change in your life, this is your therapy, this is your life. If you're not willing to do that, then it's not going to work.
Yeah.
In order for you to be willing to do that, you have to be comfortable, you have to be in a safe space, and you have to have confidentiality, because that's broadens the umbrella, right? Once you know that everything you're being talked about in that conversation is between you two, it's freedom. It should hopefully be some form of freedom, because we shame ourselves, we judge ourselves, we critique everything we do. What's this person going to say, or blah, blah, blah. And on average, most people do that, to some certain extent.
Yeah.
Some people have had horrible lives.
True.
I have had a conversation with a person that is, this is overwhelming and I may want to kill myself because of it. In that situation, I'm not there to tell them, don't kill yourself. I'm there to give them strength so they don't do it that day. That's all I can do.
Yeah.
So I asked them about how they've dealt with it before. I asked them how they're feeling right now, and I want them to get it out. Because the more you talk, like, you build up to a point with all this stuff in your head where you have to talk about it or something's going to happen. So you start talking about it and you're way up here and there's so much going on. And if I can get you to here, where your heart isn't racing, where you're just a little bit calmer, where now you're thinking about food instead of suicide.
Yeah.
Right? So I've I've helped you calm your own amygdala so you can think for your prefrontal cortex, So now you're thinking logically, and now you're like, okay, I'm not overwhelmed right now.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's me saying anything or just letting them talk, it doesn't matter. Just having someone there to listen to you is great. Knowing it's confidential is great. Knowing that I'm not going to judge you is great. You know, that's the best I can do. There's going to be situations where I talk to someone and I want to hang up the phone or I want to leave the room. There's going to be situations where someone tells me that they molested someone. Now, I was molested when I was a kid. I don't appreciate that. But my job is not to lash at them or to judge them. My job is to sit there with them and their feelings and to help them process it so they can be a better human later on.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're not there to act as an extension of justice. You're just there to, you know, because if they've done some awful things and they haven't been caught somewhere along the way, and there's some disclosures, I think, in your job too. You know, if you've harmed someone or if someone else is going to harm themselves, like there's a disclosure.
Yeah,
that you have to...
suicide, homicide, there's a high risk. I have to call the police or tell them.
Yeah.
If you're hurting or if there's a child or an elderly person in harm, I have to say something.
Yeah.
And the only other way that someone's going to see my documents if I get subpoenaed. Other than that, there's confidentiality.
Yeah.
But yes, legally within those parameters, I have to say something.
Yeah.
And I will, 100%.
If they haven't been caught, they will be. There's a good chance of. So, I mean, at least you're able to focus just on your job, knowing that somewhere along the way there will be a sense of justice served in a bad situation, because there's going to be a lot.
Hopefully, you know. But if they're just skirting around it, they don't say anything. All I can do is help them.
Yeah. And
you know, if I say 10 words and out of those 10 words they've stopped from hurting one person, I'll take that as a win. You know, if that's all it took was a conversation with someone to stop them from harming someone else, fantastic.
Yeah. Or themselves, and considering that,
or themselves.
What is it? 82 to 86% of suicides are men.
Yeah, well, it's suicide attempts is a 3 to 1 for females. They have a higher suicide attempts.
Yeah.
However, men, when we do it permanently.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do it with a gun, or we do it with a car crash, or we do it with an exhaust tank hose from your exhaust kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do it to do it.
Yeah, because I don't know if it's a bad joke, but guys just want to get it done.
Yeah.
So and then there's a large percentage of the out of the 80-ish%, it's something like half of that has to do with relationships, whether it's going through divorce or, you know, separation, or just, you know,
abuse, or the brother died, or something to do with the relationship.
Yeah.
So
that's
and that's that grief that I was talking about earlier and why it's important. You know, my brother killed himself in a Salika. He did it because he found out that the girl he was with, the daughter he thought was his daughter, might not be. That added with, so she cheated on him. That added on with him having this mentality when he was younger, thinking that he doesn't want to live past 30 because of Kurt Cobain and some of the other people that did it. So when he was 29, he killed himself.
Yeah.
But he was dealing with a lot of mental health thing that gave him that to do that. You know, what if someone would have had that conversation with him? You don't have to do this. Yeah. This isn't the only avenue. You know, but he was thinking, okay, well, I have a shit job. This daughter probably isn't mine, which means I'm not even worth it to the girl that I'm with right now. You know, and just, okay, I can do this. I can end this.
Yeah, it's all situational, which you can always change your situation.
You can.
It's not easy.
Life is always the way that you perceive it.
Yeah.
And if you have a positive mindset on most things, you're going to see the light in things. But if you're sitting there in negativity, like I've done before and I've seen people do, everything sucks.
Yeah.
You're always going to find the worst way to perceive this, the way that someone got hurt, the anything, because you don't want to see the positive, because in your head, positive doesn't exist.
Yeah. You're stewing about it. You're ruminating.
Which is horrible.
Yeah.
Because when you're ruminating, you're telling your brain there's a reason why you're scared or fearful, so it creates chemicals in your brain to go, okay, fight or flight.
Survive, yeah.
But then you're sitting there for 4 hours with anxiety, going, nothing's happening.
Or 4 days.
Or more.
Yeah.
And then you're not realizing you're doing this to yourself.
Yeah.
You're creating these chemicals. You're creating this anxiety because you're latching onto that. it's about finding that safety net, finding the way to deal with it, and then using those tools to get past it. And the things you can't control, let go.
Yeah.
It is so hard to do because we want control. So many people have OCD because they want control.
Yeah.
It's so many bad things happen, or these little things happen to the point where I need a little bit of control where I can get it. Sometimes that's harmful.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, yeah. You don't just see that in the trades. You see that pretty much across everything.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
'Cause yeah, we talked a lot about, like, you know, with your dad being provider, and, you know, the provider and a protector over the family, and making sure that you all had everything that you guys needed to just, you know, to just grow up. And
you got to remember that at that time, that was financial support. When it comes to like mental support, they weren't really there.
Yeah, it's a lot of hats that parents have to wear.
Tremendously.
And, you know, I think being a good parent is probably one of the hardest jobs you could ever have.
You're sacrificing your life for 18 years to make sure someone else grows up to be a decent human being. Yeah. Hopefully.
I have been very fortunate. I've got really two awesome daughters that live in Calgary. And when I have them here, I just want to spend every ounce of time that I get with them, and I call them all the time. You know, despite the fact that their mom and I have not gotten along over the years of being separated and divorced and all that, but never brought it on them. And and that I have to hand it to my ex-wife, that every time I get my kids, they're good, well-rounded kids, and that I'm not taking credit for that. I get the 1 to 5%. She gets the 90, the 95, the 99, because she's done a good job raising two girls. That my dad raised two single boys. That's not easy. No, I can't imagine that being easy. No. But you know, they're good kids, and I think they're good kids because of that. You know, they had a lot of good lessons growing up. So yeah, I mean, you know, your family did what they could, but you got, you know, some good influence on providing and protecting, and you know, all of that, and then all the lessons that you learned along the way. And, you know, we've covered a ton of ground in terms of, you know, being in the trades and a lot of toxicity, but and also trying to flip that and being the best that you can be on the job site.
That's all you can do.
And then switching to mental health, which is another huge animal, and you're gonna have to relearn your kung fu in this world, which is pretty damn cool. Something that I'm asking everybody as I venture through this whole idea of trying to teach the world why men matter is, in your opinion, why do men matter?
Why do men matter? That's a very interesting question that I've never had thought about.
I've been student about it for a long time, and I'm like, no, I'm going to talk to other people about this.
Why do men matter? Men matter because some jars can't be opened. Men matter for some people because of security and safety. Some people it's for having a good dad and having a good role model and playing baseball. Men matter because sometimes physically we are larger than females, just on average. And so we're better designed to do menial jobs, lifting and stuff, honestly. You know, so we can, like I said, we can open up jars.
Yep.
There's one thing we can never do biologically, and that's have children. So I always think that if it wasn't for women, we would never be where we are. You know what I mean? Like, they are the driving force for our species to continue. And there's just so many men with testosterone that ruin that. But men are, we can be endearing, we can be caring, we can be warm, we can be aggressive and rude, and yeah. Men are important because Geez, there could be so much more to that too.
Yeah, it's a big question. I don't think that there's a wrong answer,
No.
and I don't think that there's an exact answer.
No.
But
well, again, it would be to the eye of the beholder, whoever's saying it, right? From their own personal perspective.
Yeah.
But,
the last conversation I had last weekend was it stumped him. He's like, this one's going to keep me thinking all night.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I want people to think about it, because, and the reason why I'm asking is because there is this culture, this crosshairs culture of demonizing men, families, and a variety of other things that should not be targeted to a level that it is. The term toxic masculinity is, we can flip that and we can say, well, there's toxic femininity.
100%. Definitely seen it and definitely been a victim of it.
So then if we're going to have that duality and that name we're giving it, wouldn't that in a greater sense eliminate those two phrases and then just say there are some bad people out there on both sides?
There are some toxic people out there.
Overall. Yep. So just remove the femininity and masculinity and just say you're a toxic person and just leave it at that. Yep. But there's definitely been a cultural drive towards demonizing a lot of men out there. And there's some bad people out there, some bad men out there.
Spoiled apple spoils, or the rotten apple spoils the bunch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It only takes a couple of people that talk loudly, that are very rude, to change the dynamic and people thinking, okay, well, this is common.
Yeah.
As opposed to being rare.
Yeah. I would like to see this narrative go away, and at the same time put a spotlight on how many great people there are out there. Because I just don't want to talk to men. I want to talk to women too. And eventually I'm going to be reaching out to, there's actually a trauma therapist in Kelowna, and she's done amazing things. And I bumped into her once, and I was just like, oh, I know you. I follow you on the Instagram. And she was with her kids, and I was like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I love it. Like, I'm not necessarily somebody that is needing therapy for trauma, but when I see your stuff, I love seeing it, and I'm going to like it every time it comes up because I love what you do. Period. That's it. Yeah. And so our kids were like, "Wow, Mom, you're awesome!" But I want to talk to everybody, and so far I've had 2 veterans on, and I'm going to be talking to more vets, and
they would definitely have a different perspective. On
very,
things
very different. One of them was ex-Canadian paratrooper, and one was an ex-Marine. So, very, very different, both in a special forces realm.
But still, even themselves would be different.
Yeah, very, very different. And, but I want to talk to another guy he's 42. He's just a little younger than me, and he's single, and he was married once, and now he's navigating the dating realm in your 40s. You want to talk about landmines? The kids nowadays with 20s?
So happy I have my girlfriend. we had our issues, but we understand each other as well as we can.
Yeah. And
we're to the point where it's like, I know what you're thinking. Yeah. I can see it on your face, so I'm going to go do this.
Yes.
But to date in your 40s, you've got family issues. Like I already have my family.
Yeah, I've got the baggage.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Oh, I don't want anybody with baggage." Well,
every human being has baggage.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what age you are.
Yeah, so, and what you don't think is baggage could definitely be baggage for someone else.
Yeah. So the question being that why men matter is.
I think that would be interesting if you were to get some females in there as well.
No, absolutely.
Because
I want to.
Men are biased.
Yeah. And I don't want it to become a biased conversation, because we wouldn't be here without our counterparts.
No.
So
I'll tell you this right now. I wouldn't be living the life I'm living right now without my missus.
Yeah.
I would probably still be drinking. I'd probably still be smoking cigarettes or cigars. I wouldn't have gone to school because she helped me pay for my schooling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So on top of everything else that she's done just by being there, it stops me from going out and drinking. It stops me from spending money because I have a mortgage.
Yeah.
Because now everything I do affects her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been told by about, I'd say 6 or 7 males that if it wasn't for their partner, they would have been dead by now.
Yeah. Yeah. Behind every good man, there's a great
woman putting over their shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's what they're doing.
Maybe guys don't have as much patience as women, and there's a reason for it. There's a reason why there's that duality. Is we need the yin and yang in our lives, and it's good to have that. So yeah, I mean, my girlfriend set up a camera today. Some days I'm just a monkey with a rock.
And I'm completely okay with that. Sometimes like, yeah, sure. Okay. What am I doing? Okay. Just tell me when.
Well, yeah, no, it was a good point to end on. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for being vulnerable. There's you talked about a lot of different stuff, and
thank you for having me.
And I hope to hear about some more other great things that you're going to be doing with getting into the field more, and the books. I'll have you back on. We'll do a book launch or whatever. We'll do
one day. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So thanks for coming.
Awesome.